Welcome along to episode 870 of the Mill Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. Coming up on the show this week, I'll be back. Justine Malone let us know all about the show, which is going to be at the Arena Theatre on the 7th of March. We'll catch up with Ben Waters to hear about Boogie for Stew, 15 years on from the original album release, paying tribute to one of the Rolling Stones, whose name you may not know. We find out about job opportunities at Nats and how you could become an air traffic controller, and Shadow Liptrott will be along to let us know about his latest shows and everything that's going on in their world. That's all on the way on the show this week.
Welcome to the Milk Bar. 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 Welcome to the Milk Bar.
Justine Malone will be arriving at the Arena Theatre. Has she been there before, or is she coming back? I don't know. There's probably a gag in there somewhere I could have delivered better. I'll be back is the show. The 7th of March is the date, and Justine is with me now. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks, Jason. How are you?
All good here, and intrigued by this show because it's Terminator, but not as you've seen it before.
Absolutely. So I was inspired by the films to sort of make my own version of it, but set in the West Midlands. So I was kind of inspired by this idea that originally came to me about 3 years ago of what it would be like if a Terminator was built with Windows 95 instead of the super advanced Skynet software. And what would happen as well if we kind of transpose this cinematic universe into Dudley. Because Judgment Day in the films will have happened to Dudley too.
What?
So yeah,
I sometimes wonder whether it's happened already.
feels a bit like it.
I'm
Sometimes.
joking, Dudley. We love you. It's just a joke.
We do love you.
Yeah, but it is interesting the way you're approaching this because not only do we have a female Terminator this time round, but is it I'll be back or I'll be back?
I'll be back, cockers.
That's the way.
Yeah, it could be any of those. Yeah, wonderful. I kind of I wanted to use that title because it starts to play into the story as well. So I've written a new story set in this universe, but it's about this central character who, when she was a kid, somebody made a promise to come back and then they never did. So she gets the chance to go back in time, become a Terminator, go back in time on a quest to save the world, but it also gives her the chance to find out what happened to this person and why they never came back. So yeah, there's a bit of mystery going on there too.
Because the whole Terminator franchise is absolutely classic. You're clearly not old enough to have seen it when it first came out at the cinema. I am, yeah, borderline. Okay, I didn't. I wasn't old enough to go and see Terminator 1 when it came out. I saw Terminator 2.
No.
That I was the right age for Terminator 2. So I get the
Good.
whole saving the world thing. Whereas
Yeah.
Arnie first time round wasn't quite so friendly, was he?
No, he wasn't. He was really gruesome. And I think a lot of people, probably like me, saw them the wrong way round. So I saw the second one first, which led me back to the first one. And it's such a different film, isn't it? It's like a really classic kind of horror slasher sort of film that I wasn't expecting it to be at all compared to the second one. And such a low budget as well. It's amazing what they managed to do on, $6 million.
Well, that's
And then I
because
think
because he went around stealing people's clothes, didn't he? I mean, that's how you do it on a budget.
yeah. Well, I found out as well that the time travel idea was also a budget solving problem, because it was much cheaper to set the whole film in the 80s than it was to set it in the future. So that's how he came up with the time travel idea as well. So it was a money saving option that generated a whole franchise of amazing, so amazing films. It generated two amazing films. Um, and a big fandom, and some other films as well.
And an amazing parody. If it hadn't been for the rest of the stuff, would you have been doing this? I think probably, yeah, potentially not.
Essentially not. I mean, it has, it does have longevity, whether or not rightly or wrongly. Because I've got mixed feelings about some of the later films, and I do understand why people want more from this story actually, because it's an incredible universe, and it's an amazing concept as well. So I do get why they've carried on making films, because it's just really classic, a kind of tragedy comedy, quest to save the world, the hero's journey. Like it's got everything really, and this sense of foreboding about what the future holds with technology, which feels quite pertinent today, really, given
Even
everything
more
that's
real than
going
ever
on.
before. Like I said, all these devices and AI that give the
Absolutely,
wrong answers, they're just trying to lull us into a full sense of security, I think.
it's real. It's happening. So yeah, so hopefully, if people like the stories, they'll enjoy what I've created in terms of a new twist on it that feels very personal and very local. And you don't need to actually, you don't need to have seen the films to come and see my show either. Like people who have not seen the films have come to it and really enjoyed it. And you don't need to know the West Midlands necessarily either. But the fact that the show is coming to Wolverhampton feels really nice. It feels like a kind of a homecoming show, really.
It's going to be really cool. So, what else do we need to know? Because I mean, where is the look going to be for this? Are you costuming it up in full Terminator style?
Well, yeah, it's a one woman show, which means I play all the characters. So I play multiple different people. So I'm doing that through a very basic kind of black costume that looks a bit kind of army-ish and futuristic. And then there are moments where the central character is also a Cyberdyne systems scientist. So there's a lab coat going on for that. And then the moment where I actually become a Terminator, the leather jacket's coming on, in the tech noir. So that's another little stolen clothing item in Arnie style. And yeah, so things like that are kind of they give a kind of basic canvas to some of these characters, but actually I'm playing multiple people, often in conversation with each other as well. So it's a complicated little show.
You like a challenge. If it wasn't a challenge, it wouldn't be fun, would it?
It's the hardest, stupidest thing that I could think of. So that's why I'm doing it.
Is it the 80s or is it now?
It starts now. And then she goes back to 1997, which is when Judgment Day happens in Terminator 2.
Yeah, so that works.
So yeah, it's
Okay,
90s.
that's all
A
good.
little bit of 80s as well, a little bit of her childhood and a little bit of 80s going on as well. And it's set
Flashbacks.
in, yeah, there's flashbacks and there's lots of kind of nice nostalgia for people who grew up in those eras of, like going to Blockbusters to get a video out and going to the arcade and just the nice kind of I was going to say analog. It wasn't fully analog, but compared to now, it sort of feels like it.
It was 8 bits,
retro
wasn't it?
technology.
Yeah. Wonderful
So
times.
yeah.
And wonderful films and being brought to life quite clearly in a wonderful show. Arena.wlv.ac.uk is where you can get your tickets, or 01902 321 321 is the box office number. Or, of course, you can find you all over the socials.
Absolutely. So you can find all the information that you need at I'll Be Back Show. You can follow the link tree there to all of the information about the Wolverhampton show, which is on the 7th of March 2026. Hope to see you there.
That sounds absolutely awesome. Have a brilliant time. Break a leg. Don't deglove or anything weird like that, because those pointy bits are quite expensive. No, don't. Just have a fab time with it. And we're looking forward to Terminator hitting the Midlands.
Thank you.
Now, a tribute to Ian Stewart, Boogie for Stew, is available in a new format. 15 years since the first release. Ben Waters is here to tell us all about things. How you doing?
Great to meet you, Jason. Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good to talk to you on this one. And obviously paying tribute to Ian Stewart, member of the Rolling Stones until 1963.
1986, I think you're right.
Well, he was thrown out, kind of, wasn't he? He was
Yeah.
on the music, but he was not officially a member.
No, but he formed the band. It was
Yeah.
Brian Jones, and he answered Brian Jones and formed the band, called it the Rolling Stones, and then Mick Keith and Dick Taylor all joined together a few months later. That's the way I understand it.
And obviously, amazing times in music, and yeah, playing piano on tracks. We will know his work, won't we? Even if we don't know his name.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think well, I don't know if the Rolling Stones would have ever got together without him. I don't know. Well, I don't know if they would have been called the Rolling Stones, but Led Zeppelin they wrote a tune called Boogie with Stew for him, and they wrote rock and roll so he could play piano on it. And he built a mobile studio that recorded No Woman, No Cry, Exile on Main Street, Dire Straits, Live Alchemy, and even Deep Purple sung about it, went down to Montreux to record in a mobile studio, and it caught fire. That's why it was Smoke on the Water. So without him, all those things most probably wouldn't exist, So I think he had a profound effect. But I used to get fed up because he's one of my heroes, and I tell people he is, and they say, who? Which would break my heart,
Absolutely. And how did you come to create this album 15 years ago in the first instance?
I was 14 years old when I first got into this kind of music, and it was Fats Domino's 60th birthday party came on TV with Fats Domino, Ray Charles, and Jerry Lee Lewis. And I hadn't been into any music before, but for some reason, when Fats Domino hit that piano and he started off with the Fat Man sort of real old rock and roll tune, and he just beaming from ear to ear, and it just sort of exuded happiness, and it made me happy. It made me forget all my cares and woes, and I just loved it from the second I heard it. So anyway, I started wanting to be like Fats Domino. I got the shape right. I'm just working on everything else now. So I tried to, try to play like him, tried to be like him, and then my mum pointed out that my aunt and uncle were friends with a guy called Ian Stewart, and they'd been his best friends. They played at his 25th wedding anniversary. That's the only time I ever met him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and sat in our maxi outside and had some crisps and a Coke and never listened to him, which was absolutely crazy. But I did shake hands. So they had a very close relationship. And if you go to their living room to this day, it's got Ian Stewart's upright piano, white one that says Stew on the front. They've got the white speakers that used to be the front of house for the Rolling Stones. Great turntable with all these records, and they got all linked up. So they had all these very obscure videos and cine footage that Ian Stewart had collected. So several of them were of his own band, Rocket 88, performing at Montreux Jazz Festival and things. But the camera was set up just above the piano, so I could see what he was doing. Like with the Fats Domino and Ray Charles and Jerry Lee Lewis, it was all guesswork, just trying to copy them. But I could see his hands, so I started copying him as closely as I could. I even sat in the same way because I don't know, where I was trying to learn it, and I was so obsessed with it. I was trying to copy him and be like him. And obviously, he was quite a unique person, and he played in a unique way. And then, so a lot of the bands that he used to play with has heard that I've been copying him and trying to be like him. So Rocket 88 asked me to join him and do some gigs. Chris Jagger, he asked me, Mick's younger brother, who's a brilliant songwriter and singer. He asked me to join his band, and I'll be sat there playing Ian Stewart's Wurlitzer that Chris had inherited. All my life, there's been this sort of close connection with Stu. I mean, Charlie Watts used to say I used to look like him, and he said it's uncanny kind of thing. But it's not because I tried to look like him. It's just because I think I tried to play like him. I'd sit the same way on the piano because that's the way I learned, And I ended up sort of learning. Oh, I wouldn't be playing if it wasn't him. There's no way about it, no doubt about it. And then I've wanted to do a tribute to him ever since I started playing. My wife said the other day, she said, you've been wanting to do that since you were 17 or 18. And so I ended up in a band with Charlie Watts, the A, B, C, and D of Boogie Woogie, with A is Axel Fingerberger, B, Ben Waters, C, Charlie Watts, D, Dave Green. And we did about 100 gigs together all around the world. And so we'd be sat in the back of vans and things. And I said to Charlie that I wanted to do a tribute, and said, if you ever do it, I'll play drums on it. And I thought, well, I can't refuse an opportunity like that. One of the best drummers I've ever met and nicest people. So I'll sort it out. So he said, well, you better let the Rolling Stones office know that I'm going to do it. So there was a young lady called Sherry Daly who worked in the Stones office, ran the Stones office in London for 40 years. She's retired now. Really good friend. She was having lunch with Ronnie Wood. So I phoned her up and said, what's happening? And then I heard this voice said, I'd like to play on it too from Ronnie, So I phoned Charlie back and said, Ronnie's going to do it now. And he said, Keith will be really upset if us two are doing it and he's not, because he was Stu's best mate. So he said, give Keith a call. So next thing I was on the phone to Keith. And then Sherry said, well, you've got 3/4 of the Rolling Stones in their current lineup. It's going to look like Mick snubbed him if he hasn't, and Mick loved him, So he said, you better give Mick a call. So then Mick was on board. And then Bill Wyman said he'd like to do it. And he hadn't been in the Stones for 18 years. He left in 92 and then rejoined, in 2010. Yeah. So we ended up with all of them on there. And then it was having a studio, the studio bill could have been huge. But Jules Holland's one of my oldest friends. I played at his wedding, and he's helped me out before with loads of things. He's the nicest guy I've ever met in music. And he let me use his studio. So we got that for free, which was really kind of him.
Mm-hmm.
So we had all the Rolling Stones in there. We had my cousin PJ Harvey. We had Jules Holland on there. And And then Sir Peter Blake, who I met, was at one of the Stones' first ever early gigs, and he loved Ian Stewart, so he said he'd like to paint the cover. Which so it was just a magical thing, and it wasn't for me, it wasn't for Charlie, it wasn't for anybody else. It was just everyone got caught up in the whirlwind of supporting Ian Stewart. Even all these years after he'd gone.
Well, yeah, we're now 40 years on, 15 years further on down the line than that. You've
Yeah,
extended this with some unreleased material, some extra bonus tracks. It's also, of course, thinking about Charlie Watts as well, dedicated to him too. But it's just a celebration of some amazing music and a man who made it all happen through his keys. And it's just absolutely wonderful to know this is out there. How do people listen to this? Where can they get this legacy?
Well, there's a new record company down in Dorset run by Nick and Grace Capaldi. They're wonderful people. It's called Grinning Dog Records. So we've been chatting, and they've been sort of nurturing me to make sure we did it well.
Available now. Give us that web address where we can get it from.
From Grinning Dog Records in grinningdogrecords.com. A lovely couple from Dorchester, Dorset that have set up this beautiful record company and studio. And they've done a mustard-coloured vinyl, an ordinary vinyl, and a CD.
So we can get hold of all of that. And benwaters.com is where you can find out all your work and everything that you get up to. Ben, a joy to speak to you. Thank you for doing this. And keep up the good work. And we look forward to finding out more about you and your music in the not too distant future.
Jason, it's been a pleasure. And if you ever want to come to a gig, just let me know. You're always on the VIP list.
Sounds good to me. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Take care.
It's always good catching up on the wonderful world of work for Shadow Liptrott, who joins me now to let me know what they have going on. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. I'm really good, thanks. You okay?
All good, keeping out of trouble and intrigued as to what you're working on at the moment.
Awesome. Well, the main thing I've got coming up is on the 7th of March. We're doing an improv show. I don't know if anyone on here has ever seen Whose Line Is It Anyway?
We're all old enough, I think.
Yes. Fantastic show. And there's another improv troupe on YouTube called Shoot from the Hip. And me and my best mate Jade have created a show, and my dad as well. We've created a show that's really in that spirit. It's 5 of us for the first show, and we're just going to get up and we're just going to respond to suggestions from the audience, play a few improv games, and just see what chaos ensues.
You're used to working in the world of comedy, whether it be some of your writing, some of your poetry. So this isn't going to be a shock to the system, is it?
No, I've always done comedy. That was the first thing I did, really. When I was about 4 years old, I was reciting bits of Fawlty Towers. So the first full play I ever put on before lockdown was a comedy play. So comedy is something I'm very, very comfortable with. And my parents are massive comedy fans, so it's really familiar territory for my dad as well. He's going to be the compere. He's going to be like the Clive Anderson role.
Has he got the hairline for that these days?
No, he's still got quite a bit of hair.
Well, I think bald cap and as a sort of a feel of a sort of a member of the establishment about him would probably help there. If you can try and get him into that role, that could make it a bit of fun.
Yeah, maybe, and maybe a bow tie and a dinner jacket or something.
That would work. I think that would suit him very well. And it's with improv though, you do never know what you're going to get, and if the audience are not on form, then it makes your work even harder.
Yeah, and we're very prepared for audiences saying things that might try and throw us off, and we've just got to be ready for it, and things that might be embarrassing, but we've sort of set the precedents. I can't think of the word.
Precedent.
That's it.
So say that again, I'll let it.
Thank you. We've sort of set the precedent that it's not an adult show, but we are okay with cheeky and a bit of language. It's not aimed at children, but it's not like really, really adult either. We want it to be something the whole family can enjoy.
If you're a film, it's a certificate 12A.
Yeah, we'd say that. Yeah.
Just enough to keep everyone on the edge of their seats as what's going to come next, but never so disturbed they get off them and leave. So I think that works well.
Mm-hmm.
And what else is coming up? Because I know that you're quite busy with a number of projects at the minute.
Yes, I'm also rehearsing for a play that I've written. That's definitely going to be the summer, probably June, but we've got a confirmed date. But it's a 3-person play that I've written, which is definitely not comedy. The actors are finding comic moments, but it's 2 cousins male cousins meet at the end of the world, and they look back on a love triangle with them and a woman played by my best mate Jade. And it's very dramatic and painful, and one of them is married to the woman and is quite controlling, emotionally controlling, so it sort of highlights that as an issue. There's quite a bit of sort of being comfortable with your own sexuality, not being ashamed of loving. The main character is heterosexual, but he talks about his relationships with women and highlights the shame that is put on sex these days, whether it's homosexual or heterosexual. There's still a lot of shame around sexual freedom and being comfortable in your own skin, and I really seek to challenge that with this play. So
One would have hoped by the end of the world things might have got a bit better, but how far away is the end of the world in this?
There's not a specific date actually, but the two are both grandsons of a king, and they sort of very Tudorish. They swap the throne at times, and the idea is that they've both become generals of an army, and they become the last two men alive because all of their soldiers have died, and it's like, this is what it's brought us to. This is what hating each other has brought us to.
So challenging, but one to allow you to explore both yours and the psyche of others.
Yeah. It's a fun play actually. It's sort of cheeky as well. It's I wouldn't say it's hard hitting. There are very hard moments, but it's not without charm and fun, and the actors are really brilliant at bringing that out. The guy who's playing the character called Edmund is such a villain. He's so when he has to do speeches to his wife and sort of criticize her physique and no one loves you and this is why and you'll never get anyone but me. He does it so subtly and so well. And the other character who is called Shadow, the actor who plays that has got this beautiful Brummie accent and this cheekiness about him, and he's just got this kind of I don't care attitude, and it's just so gorgeous to watch.
So one to explore there, and obviously with all of this going on, it's all centered around you and your socials and your website to be able to get more information.
Yes. I don't have a website, but it's I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook and YouTube. Shadow Liptrott. It's quite a unique name, so if you type me in, you'll find me.
Get your details, have a look at what's going on, and experience some amazing art. And whether it be the full-on comedy or a play which has its moments of lightness alongside something to let you think there's a light out there. Any other quick bits and pieces later on in the year before we let you back into the night?
Yes, 25th of February, I've got a book coming out. It's a book launch. It's the fourth in the Garden of Time series. It's called The Adventures of a Time Travelling Artist. It's the same character as in the play I just talked about, who's also called Shadow. It's a time, space, fantasy, more Narnia than Doctor Who, I'd say. Time, space, fantasy, love story. And this is the fourth instalment. And the launch is going to be at Dudley Library. It's twinned with John Hartless retrospective of his book series. We like to do that with Tenebra's Texts, twin book launches and kind of twin events. So yes, 25th of February at Dudley Library, book launch for The Garden of Time 4, The Adventures of a Time Travelling Artist.
And okay, to find all of that, what do we look for?
You can just type in Tenebra's Texts or The Garden of Time, Laura Liptrott in Google. It's published under my former name, Laura Liptrott. Just pretty much Google, and the books are on Amazon. You find them quite easily, just a quick type in.
Simple as that. Well, check it all out. Shadow, good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us. Have an amazing time with all these projects.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Now, with more than half of people across the UK looking at a change in direction in their career, there are lots of opportunities out there that you may not have thought of. To tell us more, I'm joined now by the Head of Talent Acquisition and Onboarding at NATS, Claire Burton. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, NATS, tell us a bit about what NATS is to begin with, because the acronym is actually a little bit of a play on words, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's National Air Traffic Services. What we do is we manage all of the airspace over the UK and 16 towers. And what we make sure is that all of that traffic, which is about 2.5 million flights a year, passes in and out of the airspace safely.
So they're like little gnats flying around in the upper atmosphere and taking people here, there, and everywhere. And there's around 1,800 air traffic controllers.
That's right, yeah. And we're recruiting now. We've got enough for now, obviously, but the training process is comprehensive. It's a safety critical role. So you would start with your basic training, which takes about 9 months, which would be here in Hampshire or at our partner organisation in Gloucester. And then after that initial 9 months, it's a further couple of years. So you're talking probably 3 to 4 years to validate. So we're recruiting now to make sure that we're fulfilling that pipeline for the future.
What sort of age group of people are you taking? Because obviously the amount of training involved, it's pretty much the same as becoming a doctor because it is, again, life and death, isn't it? So you
It
want
is.
people who are going to be there for the long term.
Yeah, so there's no upper age limit. What's important to us is that you've got the right cognitive skills, and you don't know that unless you go through the selection process. And we've got controllers from all walks of life. We've got those that were PhD students, we've got market traders, we've got people that are on second careers. So it could be anybody, and you only know if you've got those innate skills or not by going through our selection process.
When you're working in this area, obviously it requires absolute concentration and working alongside technology to keep the air safe.
Absolutely, yeah. So those systems are there to support our air traffic controllers, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you need that human element to keep the sky safe.
Yeah, I mean, there were 2.5 million flights in and out of the UK last year, and
Yeah.
that is it's a lot of people in the air, and it's a lot of planning and organisation to make sure it is all done properly.
It is, and I think people might think that it's stressful, but that's probably because of the way it's portrayed in movies and in television. But actually, it's hard work and it's pressurized. But the controllers are trained because they know they've got a really responsible job, and so the training that they receive makes sure that the stress levels are kept to an absolute minimum, and they've got a great team that surrounds them as well.
Absolutely, yes. There's pressure and stress, and it's making sure that that balance is right. And me have so, by the sense of things, you have that, and that's why it's so important that people are trained, so you can have confidence in yourself and in those around you.
Absolutely. And, when we're looking for people, the selection process that we go through will test for things like whether you've got good communication skills, your spatial awareness. So we make sure that we're testing all of those through our process.
And this begins as an apprenticeship style, but again, apprenticeships these days are open to people of all ages.
That's right. Yes, it is. So you only need a minimum of 5 GCSEs, grade 4 or above, or Scottish National Equivalent, grade A to C, including Maths and English. So it's a very low entry level for a role where from training you can get a salary of just over 31,000 in terms of your package, and in some of our busier towers can earn up to £100,000 or in excess of £100,000 in some of our busier control towers.
So yeah, it all depends on job role, seniority, and the way in which you advance in your career, and of course how you take to this. And it takes an interesting mindset, as you say. That part of the training is to find out whether this is for you. And it sounds like though it's fulfilling when you know that you've done a job that is helping people to get to business, work, play, all sorts of things. The holiday wouldn't happen if it wasn't for these amazing air traffic controllers.
Absolutely. The controllers that I speak to, it's an amazing job. They couldn't see themselves doing anything else. And it's really meaningful and important. And there aren't many jobs like this at all. And one of the great benefits is you can do your job and leave it in the office. You don't take it home with you. So yes, it's a fantastic job. And if anyone is interested, we would absolutely encourage them to have a go.
I'm going to challenge you on that because I'm sure they do take it home with them and follow what else is going on because it's almost like a story in the sky, isn't it? The air traffic out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are, we do have some of our controllers that are really interested in aviation and do follow, what happens in the skies. But yeah, in terms of the actual controlling, you can absolutely leave it in the ops room.
You can switch off and move away from it. But
Exactly, exactly.
But once you're addicted, I'm sure you won't want to. That sounds like the sort of job which does draw you in. And if people do want to get involved, say you're taking people from across the UK, you've got two sites for training. So here in Wolverhampton, in Gloucestershire, is very close to us, and people could even commute potentially to that as a training course if they wished.
Yeah, absolutely. We do get candidates from all over the UK that come in and train initially, and then you can go to one of our centres, either here in Hampshire up in Prestwick or one of our 16 towers across the UK. So yes, some people do come down and relocate just for their training. And obviously then if you get sent to another tower, then absolutely you're very likely to relocate there as opposed to commuting.
And the towers themselves, I mean, you say 16 across the UK, obviously that's not one for every airport we have. We have many more airports than that. So how does it work? How does it tie in with that?
So we have contracts with particular airports that we go out and we bid for and win, and that is how we manage those particular airports that we've won those contracts for.
More you'll understand as you go through the course and see what actually happens both in the air and on the ground when you're part of the Nats team. Where do people go to get details on signing up and joining in with this amazing occupation?
So there is lots of information on our website, and if you want to apply, we ask you to go to nats.aero/careers.
Check out those details there. Well, Claire Burton, Head of Talent Acquisition and Onboarding at Nats, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
That's your lot for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 871 next week. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.